Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Sriram.
Hi, good evening.
How are you guys? होप आपने काफी एंजॉय किया होगा कल रिपब्लिक डे पे। कुछ लोगों ने रिपब्लिक डे राइड की होगी 26 किलोमीटर और 73 किलोमीटर एंड डिफरेंट कॉम्बिनेशंस में। Our 73rd Republic Day, and I welcome you all in the weekly live show of TourDe100। एंड हमेशा की जैसे आज हमारे गेस्ट कोच एम एस श्रीराम है। एंड एज आई ऑलवेज से ही इज़ अ परफेक्ट कोच, ही इज़ अ परफेक्ट साइकिलिस्ट। तो आज हम फिर उनसे कुछ जानेंगे उनके एक्सपीरियंस के बारे में, उनके साइकिलिंग जर्नी के बारे में। लेकिन जो लोग नहीं जानते, मैकेनिक, and he is riding since 2005, and he has done so many MTB, he has done many racing events, and from last 3 years he is a coach also, and he is a founder of Sprocket Science, and to motivate cyclists, to help them, basically to give live help। जो कि रोड पे साइकिल है उसके लिए ही कंडक्ट्स a quarterly event also in around the Bangalore, right, Sriram?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
and
Sprocket and Grand
he has
Tour.
given a very nice name to that event also. Sprocket Science Grand Fondo rides in Bangalore. Yep, that's a very lovely name. And in one of the session, we heard from him like what does it mean and how does it inspire. So मैं कुछ ज़्यादा नहीं बोलना चाहता श्री राम के बारे में। ही इज़ अ बंडल ऑफ नॉलेज। सो आज का सेशन हमारा है कैडेंस के ऊपर कि while riding what should be our optimum cadence. It can vary depending on the terrain where you are riding, distance you are targeting for that day. So it depends on that. So we'll hear from him कि हमारी optimum cadence क्या होनी चाहिए, and before that cadence क्या होनी चाहिए। सो उनसे हम जानेंगे। एंड सिंस अभी जनवरी एंड हो रहा है, एंड वी नो बाय अप्रैल एंड साइकिलिंग सीजन खत्म होने लगता है, देन अगेन इट स्टार्ट्स पिकिंग अप इन द मंथ ऑफ जुलाई। सो बहुत से लोग पूछना चाह रहे हैं कि अगेन टूर 100 में भी अभी फिफ्थ स्टेज स्टार्ट होने वाला है, एंड थोड़ी इंटेंस हो गई अभी स्टेज। आई कैन सी दिल्ली के अभी जो सीवियर वेदर कंडीशंस है वहाँ पे, उसमें लोग डेली 100 किलोमीटर 160 किलोमीटर राइड्स कर रहे हैं। सो लोग पूछ रहे हैं कि
Hmm.
हमें और कौन कौन सी लोकेशंस प्लान करनी चाहिए हमारी राइड्स में। एंड बिफोर वी स्टार्ट ऑन अवर रेगुलर सेशन, आई वांट टू हियर फ्रॉम श्रीराम कि
Hmm.
उन्होंने कहाँ कहाँ राइड किया है एंड कहाँ कहाँ वो सजेस्ट करना चाहेंगे।
वेरी गुड क्वेश्चन। साइकिलिंग में जो मज़ा है पहाड़ों में चलाने का, वो मज़ा मुझे लगता नहीं कि वी गेट इट थ्रू एनीथिंग एल्स। इट्स द बेस्ट वे टू ट्रैवल एंड सी अ प्लेस, इन माय ओपिनियन। एंड आई थिंक मैं बस लिस्ट आउट करूँगा थोड़े बहुत जगह विच यू कैन climb around your cities, not in any particular order. It's just what I got in my mind. Is One is, I'm just looking at my phone because I'm noted down. One is Yerkod, एक हिल क्लाइंब है सेलम के पास। सेलम इज साउथ इंडियन टाउन बिटवीन कोयम्बतूर एंड बैंगलोर, तमिलनाडु में आता है। सेलम टाउन से थोड़ा बाहर है येरकॉड का क्लाइंब। काफ़ी अच्छा क्लाइंब है। आई थिंक 17 या 16 किलोमीटर का क्लाइंब है, और काफ़ी सीनिक है। मेरे इंस्टाग्राम पे है वो क्लाइंब के बारे में मैंने वीडियो लगाया है। दूसरा बहुत ही पॉपुलर है साउथ इंडिया में फिर से, वो है मसिनगुडी कलहटी ऊटी, विच इज़ वेरी स्टीप। आई थिंक 10-11 किलोमीटर में आप ऑलमोस्ट 2000 मीटर चढ़ जाते हो। तो लगभग स्टीपेस्ट मैं बोल सकता हूँ, अपने साउथ इंडिया में तो स्टीपेस्ट ही है। देन देर इज़ 18 किलोमीटर 72 हैपिन बेंड्स का कोल्ली हिल्स, धर्मपुरी टाउन से जस्ट थोड़े दूर। अगेन धर्मपुरी इज इन बिटवीन बैंगलोर एंड कोयम्बतूर। मैं साउथ का रहने वाला हूँ, तो साउथ का ज़्यादा मुझे पता है। बट केरला में काफ़ी सारे हैं। तो एक है त्रिवेंद्रम से थोड़ा बाहर आता है, पोनमुडी करके। वो एक हिल टॉप हिल स्टेशन है, बट उसके आगे कुछ रोड नहीं जाता है। तो पोनमुडी इज़ वेरी गुड। पीपल अराउंड त्रिवेंद्रम, इफ यू हैव नॉट डन इट, यू शुड डू इट। देन ऑब्वियसली नीलगिरीस में, जो कि काफ़ी मशहूर है, इट्स हिल स्टेशन। कुनूर, लवडेल, कुनूर route is there. Then there is Ooty, Kotagiri, Kodanad viewpoint view. Then मुन्नार सर्किट, जो केरला में आता है फिर से वहाँ पे आप वालपराय का क्लाइम कर सकते हो। फिर मरेयूर से मुन्नार, और मुन्नार से आगे जाके आप टॉप स्टेशन जा सकते हो। बहुत ही ब्यूटीफुल, वेरी वेरी ब्यूटीफुल, यू कैन सी ऑल काइंड्स ऑफ सीनरी ब्यूटी। कर्नाटका में चिकमगलूर, मुल्लनगिरी विच इज द हाईएस्ट पॉइंट ऑफ कर्नाटका, एंड बावोडनगिरी, दीज आर टू हिल्स। नॉर्थ ईस्ट के बारे में बात करेंगे तो गुवाहाटी से शिलोंग मैंने किया नहीं है, बट मैंने सुना है कि काफ़ी ब्यूटीफुल है। थोड़ा बहुत ट्रैफिक है, बट आई थिंक इट्स वेरी ब्यूटीफुल, गुवाहाटी से शिलोंग। अ, फिर नॉर्थ में आएंगे तो देहरादून, मसूरी, धनौल्टी, ये आप कर सकते हैं। काफ़ी लंबा क्लाइंब है, काफ़ी थोड़ा बहुत ट्रैफिक भी रहेगा, बट आई थिंक इट्स डूबल। देन शिमला, शिमला से काफ़ी सारे आगे हिमाचल में आपको मिल जाएगा। कुछ रोड्स टारमैक वाले हैं, कुछ ऑब्वियसली अभी मुझे पता नहीं, मैं बहुत साल पहले गया था। बट शिमला से फागू होके कुफरी और छैल, वो रास्ता भी काफ़ी अच्छा है, ब्यूटीफुल है। मैंने मोटरसाइकिल पे किया है, बट ऑब्वियसली साइकिल पे भी किया हूँ बहुत पहले। वेस्ट में बात करें, पुणे से लवासा का क्लाइंब, और सिन्हागढ़ ऑल्सो इज़ वेरी पॉपुलर। तो काफ़ी सारे जो पुणे से जुड़े हैं हमारे व्यूअर्स, या आप अगर देख रहे हो, तो आपको तो पता ही होगा कि लवासा एंड सिन्हागढ़ इज़ वेरी वेरी ब्यूटीफुल। देन पुणे से थोड़ा आगे अगर जाएंगे तो वाई, वाई से महाबलेश्वर का जो क्लाइंब है, दैट इज़ ऑल्सो वेरी पॉपुलर। अगेन वहाँ से आप काफ़ी क्लाइंबिंग कर सकते हो। एक बड़ा सा इवेंट होता है, आई फॉरगॉट द इवेंट्स नेम, बट दैट्स ऑल्सो वेरी पॉपुलर। देन मुंबई के लोगों के लिए थाने में येहूर हिल्स है। तो येहूर हिल्स इज़ ऑल्सो वेरी पॉपुलर विद मुंबईकर्स, थाने के आसपास। बस इतना ही पता है, बट आई थिंक काफ़ी सारे हिल्स क्लाइम हो सकते हैं, बट आई मीन दिस इज़ व्हाट आई नो।
सिंस आई
लॉन्गर
एम फ्रॉम
लिस्ट।
पुणे, मैं कुछ ऐड करना चाहूंगा यहाँ पे।
हाँ।
सो जिसको नहीं पता है वो फॉलो, अदरवाइज पुणे एंड मुंबई के जो राइडर्स हैं इन रूट्स को जानते होंगे। दे कैन गो टुवर्ड्स, पुणे से टुवर्ड्स गो साउथ की तरफ जाए बैंगलोर हाईवे पे,
हम्म।
एंड आफ्टर कोल्हापुर और बिफोर कर्नाटका बॉर्डर
हम्म।
they can move towards the western ghat,
करेक्ट।
and from there they can either cross the Mumbai Goa highway
हम्म।
and follow the coastal route
हम्म। हम्म।
and come back towards the Mumbai. So that's a really good route. एंड मैंने कभी बाइसिकल पे नहीं किया, बट यस बाइक पे मैंने 2 बार किया वो रूट। सो दैट्स
फैंटास्टिक।
रियली सीनिक रूट। एंड बैंगलोर हाईवे से आपको कई, लाइक आफ्टर एवरी 50-60 किलोमीटर आपको एक कट मिलेगा जो आपको गोवा हाईवे की तरफ लेके जाएगा। सो डिपेंडिंग ऑन योर टाइम एंड योर प्लान, आप वो रूट्स प्लान कर सकते हैं। सो एंड पुणे टू लोनावला इज अ वेरी पॉपुलर रूट अमंग साइक्लिस्ट। सो
यस।
इफ यू आर planning a 100-kilometer ride in a day,
हाँ।
go to Pune to Lonavala, enjoy Chikki and weather of Lonavala,
आई
come
फॉरगॉट
back.
लोनावला। यस।
Yeah. And for Mumbai riders, Mumbai to Lonavala is also a good choice. It will give you almost 150 kilometer
यस।
and very good elevation also. From
यस।
Pune to Lonavala, elevation is not that much, but yes, from Mumbai to Lonavala is elevation very good. So you can enjoy that.
परफेक्ट।
And of course, some fun rides can include Pune to Gateway of India,
हम्म।
like that. So those are also popular. So participants को explore करनी चाहिए, enjoy करनी चाहिए वो rides. That will
यस।
be really fun.
एब्सोल्युटली, और एक साथ जाएंगे तो और भी मज़ा आएगा ग्रुप में। तो
Right, right.
यस, तो दैट इज़ व्हाट इट
Yes.
इज़।
And Delhi वालों को मैं भूल गया, दिल्ली वालों का एक काफी पॉपुलर लोकेशन है, मूर्थल के पराठे।
हाँ, बड़े बड़े ढाबा
यस,
जो है हाईवे पे,
मूर्थल में
हाँ।
काफी बड़े बड़े ढाबाज हैं एंड पीपल गोज देयर टू एंजॉय द पराठास एंड ऑल,
हम्म,
एंड फॉर Delhi NCR people it gives them around 100 kilometer, 125 kilometer, so that's their one of the favorite destination. So enjoy your rides and be safe. So let's start our today's session. To
yes,
do these rides, what should we have a optimum cadence?
yes,
So
okay,
now over to you.
yes,
Explain us what is the cadence and what is
ठीक है,
optimum cadence.
ठीक है। तो स्ट्रेट अवे आज के सेशन में मैं आपको ज़्यादा जितना हो सके उसको उतना सिंपल करने का कोशिश कर रहा हूँ मैं। आई मेक इट एज सिंपल एज पॉसिबल। सो व्हाट इज केडेंस बेसिकली? केडेंस इज बेसिकली पेडलिंग रेट पर मिनट। सो पेडल घूमता फिरता है when you're pedaling, whatever your rate of pedaling is called cadence. It's measured in RPMs, revolutions per minute, or rotations per minute. How is it measured? Simple. You get these devices which are very cheap. They have a magnet on the crank, on the pedal side, and they have a sensor on the frame, and each time the pedal goes around, it counts as one count. So if it goes around 90 times in 1 minute, your cadence is 90. So that's what the cadence is. um, if you have a pen and paper, you can note down a few more points. I'll be talking about cadence. Generally, it's the number of rotations the pedal makes in a minute. That is called the cadence. Very simple gadgets are there available in the market to measure cadence. Um, what is cadence? I told you it's the RPM. Next is what is average cadence? Average cadence is what is the your cadence is over a whole ride. Okay, so if you have cadence per minute across the full ride, you'll get an average cadence. Why is it important from a training perspective? So I would say for new riders, it is very important for them to understand what is the average cadence post a ride. Now I might be pedaling at some cadence like this, and I'll see a number 85 or 75 or 90 or whatever. But for me to know at the end of the ride कि मेरा cadence कितना था, average cadence, that is more important for me, I would say. क्योंकि आप चलाते वक्त you cannot see the cadence all the time. You'll go by feel. uh, you look at the road, you look ahead. You can't keep looking at the cadence alone because you have to also focus on the road ahead. So average cadence post a ride is what I would say is very very important to you for everybody to understand how cadence works, and you know what rides give you what kind of cadence. मैं जो भी आज बोलने वाला हूँ, it is going to be basis specific to cyclists, pure cyclists. इसमें काफ़ी सारे ट्रायथलीट्स को इंफॉर्मेशन अगर चाहिए तो it might not be the most specific for triathlon. It will be more specific for pure cyclists. That is one thing. We're talking about generally whatever we're discussing, we are assuming that each one of us has got a multi-speed geared bicycle. We are assuming that because a single speed bicycle will you'll not be able to change the cadence because you don't have the choice of gearing, right? The other thing which I'm going to be focusing mostly on is going to be riding on flat roads. We're talking that whatever we are riding, आज जो भी चला रहे हैं आज के सेशन के लिए डिस्कशन के लिए, हम लोग अज्यूम कर रहे हैं कि आप फ्लैट रोड पे चला रहे हो, आपके पास गियर्ड बाइसिकल है, और आप रोड आप साइकिलिंग प्योर साइकिलिस्ट हो, आप ट्रायथलॉन या कुछ अलग तरह के स्पोर्ट्स में आप नहीं हो, बट स्पेसिफिकली आप साइकिलिंग में जुड़े हो, ठीक है। तो ये 3 पॉइंट्स हैं। So for new riders, even before you go into cadence, I would say if your bicycle is new to you, understand what controls what switches control what gear. Get comfortable with the bikes. Get comfortable with the gear shifter. Get comfortable with the shifter. What shifter does what. आगे का शिफ्टर क्या कर रहा है, पीछे का शिफ्टर क्या कर रहा है, क्या कंट्रोल किससे आप कर पाते हो, पीछे का गियर्स के लिए क्या करना चाहिए। जनरली राइट साइड जो शिफ्टर है वो पीछे का गियर कंट्रोल करता है, लेफ्ट साइड जो है वो आगे का कंट्रोल करता है। समझने के लिए कैसे शिफ्ट होता है वो सब आप पहले हफ्ते में या पहले 2 हफ्तों में यू कैन प्रैक्टिस इट इनसाइड अ पार्किंग लॉट वेयर देयर इज नो ट्रैफिक. Do not practice, try and learn about a bicycle gearing and shifting in the traffic. I would say if it's an empty space, it's better. Once you get used to this, getting comfortable with the bicycle, uh, what I would say is learn to ride by looking at the road ahead, shift as and when you require, um, but always understand that you don't have to look down while shifting, or you don't have to look at the cadence while shifting. It's not required, but I mean, if you know what the gearing is, generally you'll understand what's the cadence should be. Now, what should be the cadence, right? Generally, ठीक है, जनरली मैं बोल सकता हूँ कि 75 से 95 आरपीएम should be what your cadence can be. It could be as low as 70, 65, doesn't matter. Okay, if it's slight uphill, maybe 65. If it's a slight flat road, mostly flat and uh, flat road, you will see 85. Uh, if you're not able to keep 85, don't worry. But generally, 75 to 95 is what I would say is a good cadence to target. Now, is there a rule that you're not supposed to ride below 75? No. Is there a rule that you're not supposed to ride above 95? No. It's just a nice number to chase, nice range to chase. ठीक है, थोड़ा बहुत इधर उधर हो सकता है, 75 टू 95 से आगे पीछे हो सकता है, डजेंट मैटर. बट what matters is what is your average cadence post ride. Once you understand your average cadence, let's say your average cadence is 110 or 105, um, it would be, I'd be very surprised by it. A, B, I would like to see your upper body, because generally जब cadence ज़्यादा है, then your upper body starts shaking like this, right? So we don't want the upper body to shake. If it's shaking on top, that means it's not most efficient. So if you're able to produce whatever cadence you're supposed to produce, right, above 95, which is high, quite a high cadence, it's great if you can produce above 95. But then if your upper body is shaking all over the place, as a coach, I don't see that as adding value to the ride. Whatever cadence you produce, okay, the upper body has to be stable, and that can only happen if you're pedaling efficiently, right? So above 95, if you see a number, it's very good, but you need to also see whether it's just upper body movement. That is one thing. If it's below 70 average cadence, below 60, right, anything below 70, it could be 60, it could be 55 average cadence, then I would like you to ask yourself कि ड्यूरिंग अ राइड आई यू स्टॉपिंग पेडलिंग. कुछ लोग हैं कि 1 मिनट पेडल करते हैं, 3 मिनट पेडल नहीं करेंगे. तो 1 मिनट पेडल किया, 3 मिनट नहीं पेडल किया, ऐसे करते 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 आफ्टर 2 आवर्स ऑफ राइडिंग योर एवरेज केडेंस गोज रियली लो. ठीक है, तो उसकी वजह से एवरेज केडेंस का नंबर कम हो सकता है, जबकि आपका केडेंस एक्चुअली 85 था, बट बिकॉज यू आर नॉट पेडलिंग एवरी टाइम, यू स्टॉपिंग पेडलिंग, your average cadence goes low. So look at that as a reason to train yourself. The best way to get your average cadence higher is to try and do non-stop pedaling, right? That is one very very important way to learn how to pedal at a good cadence. So when you do this non-stop pedaling, you will see that you are going at 75 to 95. That number will be between 75 to 95 at the end of the ride. Okay. Okay. um, I would say what matters is, for me as a coach or for you as a rider, is post ride what is your cadence, average cadence. ठीक है, right? So 75 to 95 is your cadence post ride, anywhere between 75 and 95. I'm talking only for plain roads, flat roads. हल्का फुल्का flyover आता है, that's not an issue. I'm not talking about climbing hills which are super steep, right? We're talking about generally flat roads, highways, all that is okay. But we're not talking about climbing just the way we spoke right now about all these long hill station climbs or something, or downhills also. Those are exceptional cases. उसके बारे में I will tell you uh, towards the end of the session. Okay. um, Okay, so how do you increase your cadence, or how do you work on doing getting better at cadence between 75 to 95? Firstly, I would say that try and see if you can do some very simple drills. The simplest drill I would like to suggest to each one of you is to try and do 8 minutes of non-stop pedaling. Okay, now again, if you're going to do 8 minutes of non-stop pedaling, we have to understand that it's not going to happen inside a city environment where there's a lot of traffic, because traffic cutting you and all that. So my best way to tell you is choose an open road where there are no speed breakers, no crisscrossing, no signals, no bus stops or traffic stopping you, your bike and the road ahead. That's it. Non-stop 8 minutes अगर pedaling कर सकते हो, that is a start. That is step one to get a good cadence. Now आप शॉक हो सकते हो, यू कैन बी सरप्राइज्ड, बट गुड राइडर्स कैन pedal for 50, 60, 70, 80 kilometers non-stop. Okay, they can pedal non-stop. Okay, and at a cadence which is above 75. So yes, it's possible. So above 75 cadence, non-stop for 3 hours, 4 hours, it's possible. How is it possible? With a lot of training. When you do non-stop pedaling, you're wiring your brain to connect with your legs and pedal nice and steady. This is something which is learned with practice. It doesn't come in a day. If you're not able to do 8 minutes non-stop pedaling, it's totally okay. You can only get better. You'll start off with 4 minutes non-stop, then you'll do 5 minutes, and then you'll go on. If you have any questions, please ask me. I can help you. Um, so this will lead to the body's wiring getting set. So you have a very, 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 very steady kind of an effort. Yeah. So yeah, um, this non-stop pedaling also adds to the overall cycling efficiency. Your body is going to be more efficient riding on the bike, and that will lead to better performance, right? So yeah, um, for long steep uphills, which you're climbing a hill station, the average cadence numbers can go low unless you're a super duper top cyclist, which not going to talk about the topmost cyclists, because their average cadence will still be very high for uphills, which is very surprising because they're so powerful. But we're talking about the 80% or 70% of the audience, which is not a professional top cyclist, national level rider, which is not a national level rider. So we're talking about those people. Their average cadence can be lower for the uphills. You can have an average cadence of say 55, 65, 70, whatever. It can be lower than 75. It's okay. I'm not saying you should try and chase higher cadence. If you can, with a lot of practice, with a lot of training, with a lot of power, you can do higher cadence, but it's not easy. Also understand the cyclist, national level cyclist will spend a lot of time trying to hone their skills. So if you're not able to get that kind of numbers, it's okay. But you can see on Strava certain top cyclists around India, and their average cadence on climbs. Okay, um, so that's what it is about uphills. Uphills can be lower, average cadence can be lesser. Again, try and not stop pedaling on the uphills. Do a nice rhythm and create a nice rhythm, and your average cadence will be high. Okay. For long downhills, cadence is generally not the primary number that you are chasing. Downhill is not about going fast, which automatically you go. It's about getting aero and taking the lines. So taking the lines means if there's a turn, you just look at where you need to go, and you're focusing more on the road ahead than trying to pedal, because you really don't make time unless you're in a race. So again, for normal people who are not into racing as such, I would look at safety, focusing on the road ahead. So cadence is really not the goal there. Most often we see riders who are riding downhills not pedaling, and that's completely normal. Okay, so I told you about uphill cadence can be lower, average cadence can be lower. It could be somewhere in 50s or 60s. RPM doesn't matter. The higher it is, the stronger a rider you are. That means, so national level riders will have a higher cadence even on uphills. They'll also have a high cadence on the flats, but they are a different category. But generally, Aam Janta, everybody, 75 to 95 is your average cadence for flat road. If you're not at 75, you're below, it's okay. If you're above 95, is great, but I would like to see you riding on the bike without shaking your upper body, which most often happens with very high cadence. Your upper body keeps shaking, which is not a good sign. So try and control that. But if you're still able to produce above 95 RPM, that means you're a great rider without any upper body shake. Um, any questions? I think this is all it is about cadence. It's an art of pedaling at a steady cadence. It comes with time. It comes with practice, um, and this is purely for cyclists. For triathletes, a little bit of changes might be there, which we're not going to get into because for this today's session we can't cover everything. But I'll be more than happy to answer your questions if you have right now. Um, we have Zenith asking. He went for a 200-kilometer ride. First 100 day he was good average, but then um, he needs tips for recovery for the muscles. I don't know when you went for the 200-kilometer ride, but generally it's better to sleep. Good to get some sleep, good to get some fluids in, good to get some nutritious food. Ensure you're not going low on salts post ride. Sleep well and do some active recovery walks. Walking is very good. So yeah, last week, yeah, so walking is very good. If you haven't recovered even by now, that means you might have pushed too much on the 200-kilometer ride. It usually takes 2 days, 3 days to recover. Okay, muscle inflammation. Um, okay. Um, uh, I don't know why that would be the case if your muscle is inflamed, but I would say keep doing some walks, and if it doesn't come down even then, you might want to show it to a sports medicine doctor. That's what I would say. Yeah. Um, once you get, once the pain comes down completely, then you can start cycling for sure. But if you want to start cycling sooner, then you might want to take a approval of a sports medicine doctor. Okay, you pushed. Okay, that's because yeah, generally you don't push on long rides faster than what you normally do. Um, so the way I see it is, if you're able to ride at 30 kilometers per hour for 100 kilometers, at for 200 kilometers, I'm assuming you'd be riding at 27 or 26, purposely because you want to be that much more fresh for the entire duration. Um, yeah, that's what my take is. Any other questions? We spoke about cadence. We understood what is a cadence. We understood what is a cadence monitor. How is it measured? What are the gadgets available? Okay, 200 and 20. That's good average, man. Yeah, congrats on your 29 kilometers per hour average. Hmm. Yes. So, any other questions, people? Um, yeah. So, cadence is a very important number to chase. I think if you are not looking at cadence, it's good that you have a cadence monitor and start looking at what a cadence is. Again, like I said in my last session, do not get obsessed with cadence. It's good to focus on cadence, but during the ride, a lot of people get obsessed with cadence. It's okay to look at your cadence once in a while. Very importantly, look at it after the ride. Let's see how what your ride is made up of. If you're going to stop pedaling every couple of minutes, it leads to a lot of decrease in numbers, and I would say better to go at a constant, steady rhythm and cadence than to try to chase a very high number and then not pedal continuously. Waiting for any questions. It depends, Zenith, about your knee positions. Um, I've not seen you, so maybe a video of you cycling will help me. One taken from behind, one taken from the side, and one taken from the front, side, and behind you while you're pedaling. That's what will help me. Yeah, you can reach out to me at my Instagram handle. Yes.
Right. Thanks, Ram, for sharing your knowledge on the cadence. And yes, cadence is a good part of any training, whether it's a running or cycling, and it gives a insight like where you should improve. So yes, I
Right.
must agree with that. And yep. So guys, you can ask your questions. You can type your questions in the comment section, and Sriram will be happy to take that. And still you are not getting any question, and you want after some time, here are the details of Sriram, and you can connect with him, and he'll be happy to help you out. So guys, and all our videos are available on our Facebook channels, Facebook handles, and YouTube channel, because we are doing this from last 8 weeks, and Sriram has shared his knowledge on various topics, राइट फ्रॉम द आपके आपकी एक्सेसरीज में क्या क्या होना चाहिए जब आप राइड पे जा रहे हो, मे बी इट्स अ 50 किलोमीटर राइड और से 500 किलोमीटर राइड, दोनों के लिए अलग अलग आपका किट बैग होगा. सो ही हैज
Yes.
शेयर्ड एवरीथिंग. ही हैज शेयर्ड हमारी पैडलिंग कैसे होनी चाहिए, हमारे पोस्टर्स कैसे होने चाहिए, एंड सो मेनी थिंग्स. So we have all those sessions on our handles. You can refer them anytime, and can share with your friends also. So that will really help. And why I'm saying this, because in this current stage of Tour 100, longest ride is 160 kilometer, and in next stage it will be 200 kilometer. So now our participants are planning for the long rides, so we should be well prepared for those rides. So that's why these sessions are conducted, and I'm sure you'll be benefited with these sessions. So here we get some question from one of our viewer. So how much movement of upper body should be there? I have a movement of few centimeters left and right while going for higher cadence.
या सो मैं बताना चाहूँगा कि जीरो मोमेंट इज बेस्ट मोमेंट. देयर शुड बी नो मोमेंट इन अपर बॉडी. आगे पीछे भी नहीं होना चाहिए, साइड टू साइड भी नहीं होना चाहिए. तो ये इसके लिए आपको चेक करना पड़ेगा सैडल हाइट ठीक है कि नहीं. सैडल हाइट अगर इफ इट्स करेक्ट, देन दैट विल लीड टू बेटर बॉडी पोजिशन. उसके बाद इवन इफ द सैडल हाइट इज ओके, बट if you're if you're not balanced well on the bike, okay, if you're very new to the cycling, if you're new to the bicycle also, that can also be a reason. Third thing is just being aware of your core and aware of your complete balance of the bike, front and rear. फ्रंट व्हील पे कितना वेट आना चाहिए, रियर व्हील पे कितना वेट आना चाहिए. जनरली अगर आप देखोगे तो if you are able to pedal without hands on the handlebar for some duration, that means you're very well balanced on the bicycle. I know it's not safe to do it. I'm not saying कि कल everybody leaves their hand and ride, but it's a good way to get your body to balance well on the bicycle. So I would say that if you have an open parking space, like my previous session also I told you, to understand how well you're balanced, you should be able to leave both the hands and ride, because that will put you in a nice place on the bike. And if you're not able to do that, that means something or the other needs to be changed. Get bike fit done. But I think largely I can say more with a video, because in all of these cases visual cues make a lot of sense than just words. So I'm just trying to say that send me your videos, I can help you. Front, while you're riding, from the front, from the side, and from the back, you should be pedaling, okay, in these videos. There's one more question: what is the correct saddle height and posture while cycling? um, I have covered it in my previous sessions, Niranjan. uh, you can have a look at those sessions, and if you still have questions you can reach out to me directly. um, yeah, so
Yep. So
anything
we
else?
have covered what should be our bike fit, how should it be done. So our previous viewer can refer that. And Niranjan, you can refer the how we should set fit our saddles, what should be the correct heights, so that will help you. And still, if you have any doubt, so Coach Ram is there. These are his credentials, details, so you can get in touch with him anytime. So, with that, we end today's session. And as I said, our all sessions are on our handles. And next week, we'll be discussing on how should we plan our first 200 kilometer ride. So that's a long ride. Yes, cycling में उसको long ride बोला जाता है.
लॉन्ग राइड है, काफी लॉन्ग राइड है.
200 kilometers is a good distance. And yes, BRM also starts from here. So because after TourDe100, many people start chasing the BRMs.
यस.
So it's good to have a discussion around it. Hear the experience of Coach Sriram, and let's learn from his experience. So don't miss this session. And with that, thank you everyone. Thank you, Coach
थैंक यू.
Sriram.
थैंक यू.
And we'll meet again next week on Thursday, same time. And still, our participants want to suggest some session. They can connect with Sriram, or they can email us, or they can put it in the comments, and we'll decide some sessions for you also for your demand. Okay,
डन.
thank you everyone. Bye bye. Good night. Be safe.
थैंक्स. बाय.
Ride safe. Bye.